Hey guys, Jeff Kamke here with Wealth Energetics. In this video, I want to talk about something going on in my life that I've seen recently around death and life insurance and the impact that having it and not having it can make as you're looking at the holistic nature of someone's life, their financial legacy, what money can do for them, their goals, their purpose, and those kind of things. I'm going to tie in a lot of this stuff around life insurance because at the middle class level, all too often, life insurance is just talked about as burial coverage. It's a way to put somebody in the ground, pay for the casket, pay for the funeral, and that's about it. Having a $25,000 policy here a lot of times is just enough, right? Well, the way we look at life insurance here at Wealth Energetics is it is a foundational tool that can be used all the way through life, all the living benefits that go from literally from a child all the way through till retirement and after for long-term care. It can be used generationally. There's a lot of wealthy families like the Rockefeller family that have been using the death benefit as a way to leverage, amplify, and multiply wealth generationally. Wealth goes up every generation because of the death benefit that gets utilized in a very strategic way. And that is in alignment with the goals of the family, right? And the individual purposes that each one has. So when we're looking at life insurance, we want it to be a tool that can help generationally take the first generation, whatever they were able to do with it. Once they've passed on, generation two gets the death benefit. And the idea is to up level financially, economically, consciousness level of the next generation. And a lot of that can have to do with what the death benefit is doing, how it's utilized, and what it can accomplish. So I want to share with you a couple examples of my life, in our life, in my family's life that we've been through in the last few years that will give you an idea of the power of having a death benefit, not just enough for burial coverage, not just a few $100,000 just to kind of make do, but something that will actually make a transformational shift in your family's legacy and the wealth that they create, how they bring themselves into the world, how they show up in the world, what purposes they bring, and how they can impact their sphere of influence. So I want to first take you back a few years ago. My wife's father got sick in 2019 or early 2019, ended up passing away by later that year. And there was some death benefit there. I think he had about $250,000 that was part of his policy when, he was his working career, right? That was just a work policy. And that was able to allow my mother-in-law to do some strategic things, to pay off some debts, buy another home, upgrade home, really for her to take the time to find like who she was now that she was a widow and what did she want out of life? What were some things that she'd always maybe talked herself out of, or because her and her husband weren't in agreement about certain things, like, they just never did certain things that she wanted to do, but maybe collectively they could never come to an agreement on. That death benefit allowed her to go buy a lake house with lakefront property in a beautiful location and really meet her goals and dreams in that way. She's always dreamed of doing that. It takes her back to memories of her grandmother's house on a lake, right? So that is a powerful thing that can apply. And that's only with $250,000 worth of coverage, right? So think about if there was even more money to play with, what that could have meant for my mother-in-law. Now let's fast forward a few years to just here in the last about month here in my life. If you watch some of my other videos on the channel, my dad unfortunately passed away on Valentine's Day here in 2024. He was in insurance for over 25 years. Shockingly, he didn't even have life insurance on himself. He had some high blood pressure issues, and for whatever reason, he talked himself out of being able to qualify for life insurance. So he had zero life insurance coverage. It wasn't a big deal, but now that we're on the other side of him passing and looking at what we know and what we help clients implement around life insurance, knowing that if my dad had utilized what we've known, and we knew about it 20 years ago, now we only knew about it 5 or 6 years ago as a family when we learned about it, of how to use the living benefits in life insurance and how to leverage that for amplifying what we're doing financially throughout our life, giving plenty of benefits to our living years that weren't normally there without the policy, but then especially come the death benefit and what that could do, what kind of an impact that could make. So let me share with you a few things from my personal journey, our family's journey, and what it could have meant based on some things that are going on right now in our life. So just this week, my wife and I had the opportunity to give a 3-day trial run at a private school, Waldorf Education. If you don't know what Waldorf Education is, we'll probably be producing some content on it shortly because our children are going to be going into that. And think of Montessori schools to the next level. It's really, really in alignment with our vision for how we want our children to be raised and educated, how they want to be how we want them to be well-rounded. It's just a fantastic school. So our children went there. And now there's a cost, obviously, to the school. Now, we were told early on, end of last year, that our children probably wouldn't be able to get in until the fall of 2024 here, and later on in the next school year. So we had pretty well written it off. We knew there was financial aid available to us, so we were going to be going down that process and see what turned up, right? Well, we actually went through the first 3 days. We met with the administrator and the teacher for my son, and the teacher is advocating that my son get started right away. Now, we could come up with the money. We've got the money coming in. We've got cash flow coming in that we will be able to more than likely get my son enrolled no matter what. However, there's that piece going on right now with the education for our kids. And we have also been considering making a move. And where we've been living now is about a 35, 40-minute drive to the school. And we found a house that we really, really like. And it'd be, honestly, a little bit of a stretch. We'd have to have a lot of things line up, cash flow, just a lot of different things would have to line up, right? And so that may not happen right now. There's also the element of, if we go into the school, we might need to upgrade vehicle or do some things that are going to increase the fuel efficiency of our vehicle, or get a better mileage vehicle so that we're not spending as much on gas, right? Because it's a lot to drive 40 minutes twice a day, 40 minutes one way twice a day, morning and afternoon. So it's a big commitment, a lot of financial things to consider. So I've been looking at this. If my dad would have had even a $250,000 life insurance policy, or if he would have really knew what we knew and been able to implement it even 5 or 6 years ago, there could have been a $500,000 death benefit or more that my mom would have gotten. I'm the only child. We would have probably had a portion of that come our way. And these are obviously hypotheticals. And I'm doing this not to, throw anything at my dad or anything. It's just a matter of sharing the principles of what life insurance can do for you. And we're in it real world right now. And if it was in place, what of an impact it could have had in our life right now. So if there was that coverage, I would know for certain our kids' education would be covered. I would know for certain that we could probably upgrade home, move to a closer location to the school. We could probably upgrade vehicles, and whether that meant, maybe not the brand new vehicle, but just something that was maybe diesel that got 30 miles to the gallon, like a diesel Suburban or something like that gets 30 miles to the gallon. There's a lot of opportunities that could have happened there. There's just a lot of cool things like that could have happened with that life insurance money. Now, here's the key thing. This is one of the things that we teach. We'll be doing videos on this if it's already on the channel by the time you're watching this, about how you put money to work. Because a lot of times we get a death benefit through life insurance. And if it is a sizable amount, several $100,000 or more, middle-class money mindset tells us that we go pay off debt with that. We pay off our house with that. Maybe we go upgrade vehicle. We instantly figure out how to put Parkinson's law to work. And I've done videos on Parkinson's law. Go check that out and learn about how that functions. It's a necessary piece mentally and emotionally, and the patterns and habits that we have as humans. To whatever money we have, we utilize it. And so we need to overcome that. And so it's very easy to take a lump sum of money from like a death benefit or insurance settlement or inheritance and figure out how to go blow right through it. We have never been trained at the middle class level, and this is what we teach, of how do you put money to work. Now, money can go to work in a variety of ways. It can be put into you if you have a business, or you're wanting to increase your skill set to be able to be maybe more hireable or more desirable if you have a corporate job or a normal W-2 job, or if you are a business owner, you're a chiropractor, you're an acupuncturist, you're a trader. There's a lot of professions, right, that if you increase your knowledge and your education, your skill sets, you become a better communicator, you become a better negotiator, you do better at marketing, you know how to scale companies, hire people. If you invested in yourself, there can be a significantly larger rate of return on that education and what that can produce monetarily and with income. than putting it into an investment of some sort. So you can go that route. Now, there are ways that you can put money to work in real estate. Maybe that's residential real estate, commercial real estate. There's Airbnbs. There's a lot of options there, obviously. There's a lot of accredited level investments that most people in the middle class don't have any idea about, that the returns in a lot of those accredited level investments, yes, there could be a little more risk with them, but they're usually a considerably higher upside, where a lot of times at the accredited level, they're looking for 50% return, 100% return or more per year. And those are some connections that we've built. We know of some places like that, and they're not ours, but we have built relationships with people that is something that we can refer on. If you can take a look at those kind of opportunities and see if they're a good fit. And a lot of those are private funds, they're hedge funds. A lot of them generate profits through trading of some sort. A lot of them have been around for many, many, many years. One of them that we have access to has been around for over 10 years. A lot of great opportunities in that regard. And I could go on and on, but you get the idea. You want to put money to work. And the idea of putting money to work is so that if you get a $250,000 death benefit, you're not just burning through it. And maybe it makes sense to pay off a little bit of debt or something like that first. But the idea is, if you have a $250,000, and let's actually go to round numbers. Let's say you get $100,000 of death benefit, which ideally is probably a little low. But that might be a good, number for you. Hopefully it's closer to, $500,000 or $1 million of death benefit if it's been set up early enough on somebody and it's structured well to really give you the maximum benefits of what a policy can do. So for easy figuring, let's say 100,000. And let's say you put that $100,000 to work and you're getting, maybe 10 or 20 or 30% a year return on that. And maybe some of them are cash flowing monthly, like real estate. There are some private funds that do cash flow monthly and give you a return monthly. So let's just call it, 20% return. Well, that's $20,000 that you're getting per year off that 100,000. And the whole idea of wealth consciousness is to allow your money to go to work and let your money make you money. And so if you're getting $20,000 extra per year off of what your 100,000 is making you, that can go into your normal cash flow. Obviously, you got to factor in taxes on that, right? So maybe you actually talk about maybe a net of 15,000 or so that can actually make a positive impact in your life and in your cash flow. Maybe that's to help pay down debt. Maybe that's to put into your business. Maybe it's a down payment on real estate. Like whatever it is, that money can do that. And here's the cool part is that 100,000 can work for you indefinitely, right? As long as those investments are around, as long as you have the real estate, that's going to cash flow for you. 20,000 this year, 20,000 next year. So after a few years, you've made all 100,000 and then your money ahead, essentially, because you've got your principal of 100 that's still working. You've already made all your money back through interest. Now you're playing basically with what we call house money. And that can just continually pump out more and more. Now, if you're in a situation like real estate, where that 100,000, if it's in part of a mortgage, there's going to be the increase of value of the home, and probably if there's rent spun off from that, that $20,000 might be even more than that. It might turn into 25 over a few years, $30,000 a year, and it would probably increase over time because you have the need to offset inflation and the rising cost of everything. So there's a lot of opportunities for that money to grow into even more. But that's what I want you to get to understand is by doing that, by having an opportunity for a death benefit in your life, those are the things that could have made difference for us. And we would have put that money to work. We would have got that 20,000 a year spun off from that. And it could have went directly to pay our kids' education. And we know that 100,000 would have spun off education for the next year, for the next year, for the next year. Every single year, we know that 100,000 is basically covering our kids' education all the years that they need it, right? That's a powerful principle. And that's where we talk about wealth transformation with what we do, because the life insurance can provide that in a generational conversation, right? When we're going from one generation to the next, it can provide that. And that is one of the big powerful benefits. But it's also knowing what to do with that, where we don't just blow the money, but we strategically do it so it can up level our family. So if like in our situation, we had that 100,000, we put it to work, we paid for our kids' education for the next 10 years that they're going to be in school. Well, then there we go. We've got that covered. We know that their education is going to be up leveled. We're going to be around more like-minded parents. That's probably going to bring in other opportunities for us to collaborate. Probably, more sales will be made. Who knows what opportunities will come from that? What our kids are going to be able to develop as human beings and go out into the world and make a positive impact. That is transformational. Now, we can still do that without life insurance, but it becomes easier. And it takes what would have been what my dad created in his lifetime And with the right financial structure, having life insurance and what that could have leveraged in our lifetime, instead of us having to take out of our normal cash flow to put our kids in that situation for better education, it would have come from that life insurance, which would have come to us tax-free. We could have put that money to work. We could have then used that money to pay ongoing for the tuition at a private school. And looky there, we've still got the money that we had in our cash flow, plus the addition from that up-leveled the education in our family. And who knows what the ripple effect of that will be generations to come, of how our son and daughter would be educated, trained to think in a more well-rounded way, where you're just getting a better education. There's emotional intelligence. There's just so many attributes to the Waldorf education that we're looking at going into. So the profound ripple effect can be tremendous generationally of what the life insurance can do, and then the benefits of what that can do that has the ripple effect. So I hope this video was enlightening for you to get an idea of what life insurance can do, as we're in a real world situation of stuff going on right now in our life, and compare and contrast what does it look like without the life insurance that my dad didn't have, and what could it have looked like if he had it. And that's why I have a very large life policy on myself, life insurance policy on myself. We'll be getting them on our children here shortly. My wife will be getting one. We had a term policy from 12 years ago, 11 years ago when we got married. And we've also added in a whole life cash value, whole life policy like we teach. That's got, I think right now my death benefit's over $600,000. So I know if I tragically left my body right now in 3D on Earth, that my family would instantly be getting, $600,000 roughly, that they could put to work and be able to spend that money off, grow that money, whatever they decided to do was with wise counsel, to not blow through that money, but let that money leverage my family, my children, my wife for the rest of their days, to be able to not just cope, not just get by, but thrive. That's the whole point. I want an up leveling. If I were to leave, my family up levels. They're basically financially free instantaneously because that money goes to work. There's a spinoff from that meets all the financial needs, pays off all the debt, does all that kind of stuff. And then I know my family's taken care of, not just for the next year or two or the next few months or enough to put me in the ground, but it is a transformational thing that takes place inside of my family if that type of thing were ever to happen. So that is the power of utilizing life insurance in a generational transfer, in a situation where a father or mother die, and what that can mean to the next generation, and the impact of all that. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. I definitely will follow up with those and give you some good information or answer those questions. Hopefully you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. If you are not, please do so, and make sure you click the notification bell. And please share this video. If you know somebody that has maybe been through a situation like this, or somebody that maybe they're a young family or a new business owner, and getting them thinking about the powerful benefits of what it can do to have life insurance in their life, share this video with a few people that might need to hear this message and know that it would impact them in a positive way. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you guys all in the next video. Take care.